Hey friends, this is the Miss Wolfie from our Half Acre Homestead, and today we're canning parsnips because this is too big to eat in one meal. Okay, so first things first, I want to show you, yes, there's dirt on here. These are the parsnips, 4 parsnips I got out of my garden. Look at the size of these things. So I think I'm going to get maybe a couple of quarts. Okay. Let's dust the dirt off of here. Not that we're... Let's start with the smallest one. These have to be peeled. Period, full stop. Here's our little pan for our compost. And I'm starting with the smallest one first because it'll make them easier to cut up. I'm not going to necessarily cut them up exactly the way. I'm going to plant these next year. Why? Because I only got 4 parsnips, but this is over 3 pounds, guys. 3 pounds, 1.6 ounces. Into the bowl of water that goes. Now let's go to the next biggest one. Let's get the dirt off of there. I'm going to can these in quarts for the simple reason they're bloody delicious when you mash them with butter and salt and pepper and then whip them. I think I'm going to get 2 or 3 quarts. Would be nice if I got 4, but I'm grateful I'm getting anything for canning out of these parsnips. And if I call them turnips, folks, it's totally by accident. It's just I'm still stunned at the absolute mammoth size of this parsnip. And it got 2 frosts, which means it's going to be sweet enough. Gracie, hush. Let's get these little parsnip roots off of here. And let's just do this. Just want to make sure that these fit in the jar. And if you're wondering why I'm not using my chopper, well, I'm not sure I would trust my chopper on this supermassive parsnip. So I'm cutting them up by hand. Besides, there's not a lot here. Okay, time for the supermassive parsnip. I think I'm going to get about 3, I gotta wash these. I think I'm going to get about 3 quarts. What do you think? So here we have our peeled and cut up and washed parsnips. They're going to go into boiling water and blanch for 3 minutes. After I washed them, I measured them in quart jars, and I was right. I got 3 quarts of parsnips here. Yummy! Okay, our water is boiling. And we're going to very carefully dump our parsnips in. If you can find a bowl that is slightly smaller than the opening, it's much, much easier. And now we're going to set the timer, whoops, for 3 minutes. Okay, our timer has gone off. And I'm just going to strain these. And we'll get to canning them. Alrighty, there's our blanched parsnips. I already put a ½ teaspoon of salt in the jar. And now I'm just going to start putting the parsnips in. Now I have a kettle on here with keeping the water hot. You want to fill these to 1 inch from the top, but I'm not going to fill them completely 1 inch from the top because these are just for Howie and I. The straw will do. So now I'm going to stick the straw down in there. You debubble however you want. I check different methods just to see. We're going to fill this also to 1 inch from the top. And we're going to debubble. Debubble, debubble, debubble. Get all the bubbles out. If you don't get all the bubbles out, they'll come up so quick, they'll push the water out of the jar. Always, always, always wipe your rings and threads with a clean damp paper towel. Fingertip tight and into the canner. That goes. It's only 3 jars. But you know what? That's 3 jars more than I had before I pulled these out of the garden. Who would have thought 4 parsnips would have filled 3 quarts? Okay, now my canner has the recommended amount of water in the bottom. If you're using less jars, you can add a little bit more water. Why? Because there's air in here. It's going to take more air to push out. So you want to fill some of the space where the empty jars would have been. So we add maybe an extra liter of water for every 2 or 3 jars missing. Okay? Alrighty. We're going to put our lid on here. Now listen, remember in between cannings to take your lid, take the ring out, and give everything a good scrub. And make sure there's nothing in between your gasket and your lid, because it could be a problem for not getting correct pressure. So we're going to lock this lid on. When this bubble comes up, we'll be spouting a steady stream of steam, and we'll time that for 10 minutes. Okay, here's our steady stream of steam. Our bobble is up. Set the timer for 10 minutes. And then we will put our 10-pound weight on. Remember, if you live 1,000 feet or more above sea level, your pressure gauge weights and canning times may change. So please check manufacturer's direction. Okay, our timer has gone off, and I'm going to put a 10-pound weight on here. And as soon as that produces a vigorous jiggle, we're going to set our timer for 35 minutes. It's 30 minutes for pints, 35 minutes for quarts. Okay, we got our first vigorous jiggle, and because we're doing quarts, we're going to set this for 35 minutes. And I've turned down my canner just a little bit so it doesn't sound so angry. And there we go. We'll be back after 35 minutes. Okay, our timer has gone off, and we're going to shut our canner off. These have been processing for 35 minutes. And we are just going to allow this to cool down naturally. Do not jiggle or take off the weight. Do not try and open the lid. Don't plunge it in cold water. Don't wrap it in wet towels. Don't do anything. Just let it cool down until it is comfortable to the touch. And always open the lid away from you. Now, although this is not exactly cool to the touch, the bobble is down and there is no steam coming out of here. So like I said, if you're going to open it while it's still quite hot, not hot, just, uncomfortably hot, then always lift the lid away from you so you don't get a face full of steam. 3 more jars of goodness. Oh, and they're already pinging. And there it is. 3 jars of parsnip goodness. 3 more jars of food in the pantry. This is the Mrs. Wolfie from our half-acre homestead saying, it's not every day you go out to the garden to pick something for supper and end up with enough for 3. But that's a good thing, right? Mwah! Take care, God bless.